Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
And we welcome you back this weekend to Inside West Virginia Politics. We've been talking tax reform. Let's talk about it a little bit more. We are joined by Delegate Jason Barrett, Republican of Berkeley County. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you having me.
The governor, of course, is out trying to push this plan, has a lot of legislative support to eventually eliminate or phase out the state income tax. You favor it, not favor it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I certainly favor phasing out the personal income tax in the state of West Virginia for working West Virginians. And, you know, I think when we look at the governor's plan, it may be a little aggressive. It may be too large of a bite of the apple too quickly. But I think the legislature, specifically the finance committees in both the House and the Senate, are going to work out a plan to be able to phase out the personal income tax in a responsible manner that doesn't put the state of West Virginia in an economic downturn or potentially bankrupt the state. We have to be very mindful when we look at cutting the personal income tax. It is a large portion of our general revenue budget, over $2 billion. So, you know, when you're trying to cut $2 billion out of a $4.5 or $4.6 billion budget, you have to be extremely cautious with that. And I think the leadership in the finance committees, and as well as both the House and the Senate, are going to work together to come up with a plan that works for West Virginia.
You don't always hear of Republicans backing tax increases, but there's a tax increase here. The sales tax would go to from 6 to 7.5%. Are you getting any pushback from your constituents on that yet?
You know, I'm getting some concern from citizens. I think they just want a better understanding of the plan. I think that we need to do a good job of really communicating what the plan will be to the constituents all over West Virginia. And I hear their concerns about the increase in the consumer sales tax. But when we talk about an average working West Virginia who may bring home $30,000 or so per year, so they would be making around $40,000, you know, before taxes. You know, when you start to talk about and bring to mind for them, you know, the fact that they're paying rent, that they're paying a car payment, insurance, the phone bill, the electric bill, the water bill, all those things are not subject to consumer sales tax. So you have to be really mindful and really do the math on how much disposable income they have or how much money they're really spending on things that are subject to the consumer sales tax. Certainly groceries are not subject to the consumer sales tax. So, you know, when you're looking at increasing just 1.5% on your consumer sales tax of a small portion of your income, I think that when you compare that to reducing or eliminating the personal income tax, which could range anywhere from 3% up to 6.5% on your total income, I think it really makes sense to look at personal income tax reduction and phasing out.
Berkeley and Jefferson counties are very close to Washington, D.C., and you folks feel you're not getting enough vaccines in your part of the state, one of the fastest growing parts of the state.
We don't feel that we're not getting enough vaccines. We know we're not getting enough vaccines. And when we look at the numbers, the numbers back that up. And, you know, I think the governor's office and General Hoyer and the joint interagency task force has done a good job. And certainly in West Virginia, you know, we're really leading the nation in vaccine rollout. There's no question about that. However, we're not doing it in an equitable manner across this state. But we've been assured by General Hoyer and others that moving forward, the 28 counties that are below the state level, once the vaccines, the next round of vaccines are released, that the focus is going to be on those 28 counties that are below the state average. And quite frankly, there are no counties that are receiving a lower percentage of vaccines than Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan counties in the Eastern Panhandle. So, you know, I'm confident in General Hoyer's leadership on this. I'm confident in that task force that they're going to make it right. And, you know, we don't expect these folks to be perfect. We're in unprecedented times. We're dealing with a historic pandemic, so there are mistakes that will be made, but we just ask that they correct them when we bring them to their attention. I certainly understand the frustration of the folks in the Eastern Panhandle, and I share that.
You introduced you as Republican, Jason Barrett. You were elected as a Democrat. You switched parties. Why?
Well, you know, the Democratic Party in West Virginia has long made the case that they're the West Virginia Democratic Party and not the National Democratic Party. But as I see the landscape here in West Virginia from a political standpoint, it's getting very hard for them to make that argument anymore. Unfortunately, the party has really taken a left turn in this state. I want to be able to put myself in the position to do the best I can for the constituents of Martinsburg, Berkeley County, and the entire Eastern Panhandle. And I've been welcomed into the Republican caucus. Speaker Hanshaw is a wonderful leader. We all know his intelligence. He gets complimented that on all the time, but his class rivals his intelligence, and I'm glad to be a part of that caucus, and we're looking forward to moving West Virginia forward.
All right. Delegate Jason Barrett, now Republican Berkeley County. We want to thank you for being on the program. We'll have you back.
Absolutely.
Certainly as the session goes on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll have more of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break. Stay with us.